How's it going, folks? Welcome back to the Via Pinstriping page. If you are new to this channel, please consider subscribing. And if you are a returning subscriber, thank you so much for watching. Today we're just going to do a little design. I kind of have an idea of what I would like to achieve, as sort of a more open, kind of a bubblier design. So we'll see if I can accomplish something that could be described as such. This panel here is the back of a flat canvas that you can just order off of Amazon, or you can get them at Walmart or whatever, but it's the flat ones. And this is just the reverse side. I had made a mistake on the other side, so I'm just kind of using this for the video. Not the best recommendation because it's basically cardboard, so we'll see how this paint reacts with the back of this. We're gonna give it a good solid attempt. I am using the Kafka #1 scrolling brush, and I have some little bottles of paint somebody gave me. I believe this is alpha enamel, I believe. I'm unsure. So the story on that paint is I had a friend of mine, which I'm not going to say who, just because I don't want folks bothering them about it, but and I don't know if anybody would, but anyways, I went to visit him, and he told me how he gave away some of his paint because he didn't use a particular brand, and he just gave it away. And I said, man, people are just giving away paint, and my mind was kind of blown, right? So I actually went on Pinstriper's Garage, which is a group on Facebook, a group that's helped me out tremendously in the early days, and still to this day I get a lot of good information on there. But I asked on there, I said, hey, look, if anybody's willing to give away paint, because I thought, man, people are giving away paint. I didn't realize this. If anybody's willing to give away paint, I'll pay for the shipping. If you just don't want it, and it will get used, it will be put to good use. So I was actually able to acquire a little bit of paint through that particular comment. And we're using it right now, so it is being put to good use. Right. So we're going to start off with a fairly open teardrop shape. I was actually expecting to go further down with it, but the way that my hand was kind of going, I cut it off a little bit short. It is a little shallow on this end, but not so bad on that end. But we'll work with it, right? So I kind of want, in my mind, just something a little more open-ended, not so tight, something a little bit more bubbly. We're going to use two colors. This is blue. Let's see here. I do like making these little, sort of a circle that crosses in the middle, right? So we're going to make a nice C curve. It's going to cross in the middle, and it's kind of going to run flat there at the bottom. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Start in the middle, go out, do this nice little C curve, cross the center, and kind of flatten out right there, right? Now with symmetrical designs, it's a good idea to start in the center and then work your way outward, right? So here we're gonna, I'm gonna go in and out quickly, right? In and then out. And I'm gonna sort of develop another kind of round bottom right about there. Excuse the throat clearing. Again, it's something that I believe I read up on it because I was looking it up, and I think somebody said it had something to do with possibly acid reflux. So I may have mild acid reflux that causes that. I know, too much information. All right, so we're going to try to match that shape on this side. And these are fun because you kind of really need to get that same curve to get a nice sort of a bell bottom I guess it's not necessarily the shape of a bell, but that's kind of what I want to say when I look at that. Right? So we have a nice top, a nice bottom. Let's take a look and see if I want to continue with this color. Because again, I'm trying to do something more open-ended. Let's see here. Maybe just something that kind of encapsulates the center here, right? Something that I can tie this all in, because it sort of looks like two pieces at the moment, right? So what we're gonna do, so I'm gonna give this a nice arch from here to here. Now, those things used to be my nemesis. I always had a hard time with them because I would always inevitably end up with a harder turn in the beginning and a lesser turn on the other side. I've gotten a little better at them, but they used to kick my butt. They'd always end up off kilter. One of the main reasons why I still to this day use grids, it really makes life a lot easier for me. All right, we're going to go in a little bit. And on this side, we're going to connect it starting at the same spot and coming outward. And again, the reason I go from here up instead of going from the top down is just because anatomy. It's easier for my hand to work this way. So, you know, even with a sword brush, if you are using a sword brush, you can develop different methods to work them brushes. They don't always exactly have to go in the same direction. I've watched folks like Todd Hansen uses the side of the brush for some of the design and then starts working the actual front of the brush. So you'll see folks really just use them however they need to get used. There's more than one ways to complete the task with these brushes. All right, so I think I'd like to go out here, kind of continue the theme there. Go out. Kind of gives me a little zigzag. And we're going to go back out this way, ending at the same spot, trying to create the same arch, right? I have a very thin grid line. It's basically a center line and then the width of a ruler on each side. I didn't keep going out. And then I did 2 inches down. So just so y'all know. And for those grids, I use the Staedtler Lumo Color non-permanent pencil. It's water soluble. Now in this particular instance, I don't know if I'd be able to remove it because it's on this basically cardboard, and I'm unsure. Sometimes when it's a porous kind of a surface, these pencils will dig in pretty good, and they're hard to get out. All right, so now I think I'm gonna go in, and this is where these little Kafkas really shine, right? I could just kick out that curve without having to think about it. And I'm gonna go right back in here. Now I'm certain there's people that can do that with the sword. I have a hard time with them, but that's one of the reasons I really like using these for design work, especially if it's small. You know, the downfall, in my opinion, is if I have to do something like a tailgate, or I want to go clear across the whole tailgate. If you're going to make a move that's over a foot, these things kind of don't quite work the same as a sword does. All right, so now I'm going to attempt to create this same shape here, which is a little hard because the camera's in the way, but so I'm going to try to visualize it, right? Looks like it goes in about right there, kicks back out, It connects right in. It actually goes a little bit upward, so it's not a flat in. Right. Let's give it a shot. All right, not terrible. My ends here got a little funny, so I'm gonna try to fix that. Always remember that you want clean, clean connection points, right? I believe to this day that if I'm trying to look at what I consider quality pinstriping, you know, um, the line weight, the consistency of the line, and the connections really show, I think, if anybody has put a lot of time into the art form, and it kind of just shows that they care to make the connections nice. It's a good housekeeping or whatever. All right, so I like that. I think I'm gonna just put a little fat, kind of a teardrop shape here, just to kind of, it's almost like a missing a little something. So I'm just gonna put a fat one here, and I'll push down real hard, and I'm just gonna lift up quickly, right? All right, so we're gonna move on to the second color. I got an orange that I'm gonna use. It almost looks like a burnt orange. In order to clean this brush, to change colors, I'm gonna try to squeegee off some of the paint, right, gently. And I have some cleaners. So this is naphtha. You can also use mineral spirit, but currently I'm using naphtha. That's what I'm also reducing with, and this is just a very dirty jar of it. I need to pour this, or pour it into something that I can dispose of it safely, and get a cleaner jar. It's been a while. All right, so we're gonna move on directly to orange color. Now, always remember, folks, with any of these paints, you want to try to agitate it as well as you can. Make sure it's mixed, because I believe the pigments and such tend to separate from the oils. So sometimes it just it'll give you consistency issues. It'll give you issues where the color doesn't look quite as opaque as you would like. So it's always good to try to mix that up as much as you can. I poured out about a quarter size of a little amount, right? And that should get us through the rest of this design. Matter of fact, I think that might have been too much, but it's okay. So we're at 13 minutes. Not bad. I like where I'm heading with it right now. Now I'm gonna try to add to this while still trying to maintain this sort of a bubbly effect. And right now I am mixing the paint into the hairs of the brush. And it's easy to overload it right now because all this is fresh paint. So I'm trying hard not to overload the brush, sort of just pushing it off to the side. I'm leaving an area where it's not being touched, and that's kind of going to be where I'm going to get the fresh paint from. All right, I'm kind of working my way away from it. I set this up to where y'all can see me palette. There's so many videos where I'm just paletting and nothing's happening, and it's probably less educational that way, I think. So I'd like to get out with the design, but I want to start. I want to see how we can do this. I think I'm going to go from here, just barely out. I'm going to try to stay close to this close to this because I'm thinking I'm going to go up first and then out, right? But I don't want to have nowhere from it to go up from. So this gives me just a little separation from the design. Just a little, just a little straight line going downward. Slightly downward. I'm bad with angles, but just slightly downward. And I'm going downward because I want to go up. So that gives me sort of a good separation, right? If you go upward and then up, it has less impact. So because I'm going to go up, I'm going to go down first. And that sort of gives me a little bit, I don't know, cooler impact, I guess. So now I'm going to connect the line from here to here. Right? And we'll see if this works out. I don't know if it will. Now I didn't quite make it to the line of the grid. I'm right before it. Probably 1/4 of an inch. Right? I'm going to try to maintain that same arch. And connecting right there. Right. Paleting the brush, making sure I get the correct consistency that I want while reducing with the naphtha. And I'll show you folks, when I reduce, I'm literally just touching, just barely touching the tip. That's how much I'm using to reduce. Now I may have to do it 5 or 6 times depending on the consistency of the paint at the moment. If I was having issues where I'm working in the heat, I would probably put it in a cup, mix some reducer in with it first to start off with a good consistency. But I'm here in my home, so it's not a big deal. Now I think I'm going to go out, but I'm going to do this effect where it looks like it goes behind this design here. Right, so I'm going to start there. I'm going to just kind of follow it with leaving some separation. Right, I'm going to go right there and I'm going to stop. I didn't quite touch it, but I do want to because I want it to look like it's going behind it. Right, now I'm going to try to visualize where it would come out of, which I feel like it would be right there. Right. And I'm trying to think, I think I want to make a turn. I'm trying to figure out how I want to end this, but I think maybe into it. That would continue my bubbly look. Right, so visualize where it would come out of. I'm thinking about right there. Right, come out a little bit. And we'll stop right here. I did cross the line just a hair, but no big deal. You can always get a little piece of your shop towel. Right, little piece of the shop towel. Dip it in the naphtha and just push that line back. It just made a wet spot. That's all it did. There we go. Very minute, actually just kind of, I should have left it alone. And somebody asked me when it comes to doing these things, like erasing a mistake, they asked me is it safe to do that on a vehicle? And yes, everything I do is based off the idea that you would be doing this on a vehicle. So all these chemicals, all these paints have been tested to be able to work on a vehicle that's already been cleared. But there's always a chance. So if you're going to use any chemicals on a car, try to maybe test a spot that's very inconspicuous, a spot you can't see, just to make sure that it won't affect it. But generally, these things are proven to be okay. All right, so now we're going to try to match this. Stop right there. Sorry if this is a little slow for folks, but I've been getting some good feedback on these real-time videos. And sometimes I try to rush them, and I feel like my design that I created doesn't quite look good to me, so I'm trying to slow down, right? So I'm following basically the same spot. Now, when I'm coming out here, I see this triangle that I left from the grid to my line, so that's what I'm going to try to match. That little, make sure I still have that same shaped triangle, and go out roughly the same amount, which looks to be maybe 3/4 of an inch, and I'll try to see where I come back in and create that same shape. So those are little ways to maintain the same shape, is to look what the gaps left looked like in your grid, and it's just another marker. All right, so I'm gonna start where I think it would have come out. I'm gonna come out. About 3/4 of an inch. Start to make that turn. Keep it round. We're gonna stop right there. Stopped early this time so I wouldn't go into it. So what I'm gonna do is just finish it off. Sometimes it's safer to stop early so you're not cutting into the wet paint there. Right. I like the overall shape. Now I just have to figure out how I want to kind of, if I want to follow this to give it a little bit more complexity, or if I want to do it from the outside or from the inside. I think if I do it from the outside, it leaves me this nice open-ended negative space, right? So what I'm going to do is, I think I'm going to go above this. I'm going to go in, and I'm going to follow it downward. Yeah, I'm going to try to get as far as I can before I actually cut into the line, right? And going slightly above that just kind of gives it, I don't know, a little more complexity. You know, all this stuff, everything I've ever done, folks, on this channel is opinionated, so keep that in mind. I hope you're all getting your information also from other sources. Getting your information from only one source is never a good idea. But if you're here, I do appreciate you. Right. Now, let's see here. I am going to put a little bit of this color in the middle just to give it, ties it in a little bit more. I think if I was to go out and then back in, that'll sort of give me either in. Yeah, let's keep it. Let's try to keep it this bubbly effect. I think this one's a little higher than this one, so I'm going to just bring this one up just a hair, just adding a little bit more material on top. Right? We're at 24 minutes. I think I'm going to cut in right here. going to do the same thing over here. Now this particular line doesn't seem to be touching at all, so I'm just going to fix that first. Try to keep the illusion of it going behind the other design element, right? Now I'm going to come back out with it pretty sharp. Now the paint's wanting to dry up on me, so I'm going to have to reduce. Give me a second. And what I'm going to do here is try to smooth this paint out a little bit. It's a little warmer in my paint room here than it is the rest of the house. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. But I'm currently on night shift. I've been on night shift at my day job for some time now, and I'm able to make these videos in the middle of the night. So I'm trying to think if I want to go out further with it than these are, but I think I might be better off just staying within. So I'm just going to go right there, just cut right in, give it another nice a little right like that. Try to maintain this idea of openness. You know, this type of stuff for me, if you can create something that looks good, is nice and open and minimal. I think these types of things are cool if you have like just one design that somebody wants you to do, like one gas tank or one hood piece. Because then you don't have to rack your brain to develop the rest of the car in a similar manner. That's why most pinstriping is your average teardrop and little S curve and then back into it, and that's it. Most people are looking for what looks like pinstriping to them, you know. So I'm trying to think if I want to go in and up. I guess that would give it a little more complexity. So, or let's just give it a circle, kind of half circle, right? So let's just go. Like that. Yeah, I like that. Keeps up with my theme, right? This open theme. Now at this point, I'm trying real hard not to put my hand in the paint. So forgive all of the starts and stops. I'm trying to find a space where I can lay my hand. Now I will say one of the biggest influences in recent time for me when it comes to these symmetrical designs that have clarity, they have a distinct style, a distinct look, is a fellow by the name of Bob Bohonic, or Bob Bohonic. So Bob is a legendary sign painter, and we've actually interviewed him for the Pinstripers podcast. But every time I see his stuff, I'm blown away by the simplicity and just the style. I mean, the guy's got style, just incredible style, and humble as all get out. So, you know, when I jumped into doing this design, I thought, what would Bob do? What would Bob do? So let's see here. I like it. I'm pretty much gonna consider it for the most part done. I'm just Trying to figure out where I could put a little color in the middle, right? So I think a little kind of just a fat sideways line here sort of caps that space off some. So this is heavily influenced by Bob Honig. I'm sure if Jack was watching, he'd probably be like, oh yeah, that's kind of similar to like Bob's stuff. I hope. That's the idea. I did not, I on purpose did not look at his stuff before I did this. So I was like, let me see what I can actually create without the automatic influence. Let's see here. I think maybe another one there. I almost want to make it round though, like a dot. You can also use the back of the brush to create a perfect dot, but I kind of want to elongate this dot, almost like a peanut M&M. Right. Luckily, this cardboard didn't absorb terribly, so not a lot of bleeding going on. Little orange in the middle. I have this open area here. I'm on the fence whether or not I want to add something there. I think maybe on the outside could give me a little bit more color if I just followed it some without interrupting this nice open area. Right, so if I just go like this, I'm coming out, going in, and then I'm gonna, it's like a teardrop shape, but that has a little curve at the end, right? And that, right? Teardrop shapes are a real nice, easy way to add another color. Sometimes if I get stumped, I'll just kind of outline some of the original design elements with sort of teardrop-esque shape colors. When we say teardrop shapes, we're talking about something that goes from thick to thin. Right. So I like that. Let's see here. I think we're going to call it done, folks. I'm really happy with that. Let me sign it. I normally go for a something like the number 3 scroller when I do these videos, because they're thick. I can make a thicker line, and I think they're more visual. You can see it a little better on a video. But this time I was really wanting to do delicate lines. And my signature is slightly off kilter to the right. So it's a good chance to show you why I added this swoop to my signature years ago. It's because now I can almost recenter it. Have a little something going off to the left. It kind of gives me what I want. All right, folks, so that's it. Let me try to set this thing up to where you can see it straight on. I know a long time ago somebody said, is it possible to give a head-on shot when I'm finished so you can see what it actually looks like? Right. Whoops, sorry. I'm using sort of a tripod that connects to this easel that I have. And it's not perfectly centered, and I can't, because of the way the thing is, I can't exactly make my phone straight. So this is about the best I can do for you folks. Right there. So I'm gonna leave that with you for a little bit. I am going to clean out my brush, right? So I'm gonna squeegee out some of this paint. Oop, I got some on my fingers. I should have got a bigger piece of paper. I hope you enjoyed that video. I really appreciate you all watching, and if you have not subscribed, please hit the subscribe button. This channel I've developed over the years is only on the topic of pinstriping. I think I have, oh, I don't know, somewhere in the range of 400 videos on the topic of pinstriping, how-tos, brush care, you know, what brushes I like, you know, what materials I use, and a lot of good information. So thank you all again for watching, and I hope you have a good day. Bye-bye.